the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
Maffa next to him. Neville, the tight end, in motion, right and back left. Snap to Greer. Handoff Maffa into the right side of the line. They're trying to push him in. And one man says he's in. The VAR judge says you're in. It's a standing tush-push. Maffa with the touchdown.
Phil Maffa with that 1-yard touchdown run. 31-13. Cowboys getting the win here in the preseason finale over the Atlanta Falcons. Preseason in our rear view now as we look ahead to the games that count. Thursday night football against the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus here in the Miller Lite Field Club, the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. And if you want to use what the pros use, Jack Black is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. 877-881-1053 on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. It was that Phil Maffa touchdown and then a 29-yard touchdown pass from Joe Milton to Jalen Brooks that made it 24-10 coming out in the second half. You did have a Younghoe Koo 28-yard field goal from Atlanta, but Brian, this was certainly a more comfortable-looking Joe Milton from what we saw the first 2 weeks. He moved the offense, was very effective, 10 of 18, 132 yards, a touchdown, and then also getting it done with his legs as well, as he was able to run for a touchdown, also had 33 total yards on 4 carries.
Yeah, this game looked far more comfortable for Joe Milton. It was more like, Joe Milton, just go play football. You know, don't be Joe Milton pocket passer. You know, he played with some freeness to his game, and you know, if something were to happen, and I'm just going to say this, if something were to happen with your quarterback situation, this is how I think the Cowboys would play the game. I think you would see the college offense. I think you would see the running. I think you would see the RPOs. I think you would see the slants and things like that. That type of passing. You know, it was a much freer, looser game for Joe Milton. And, you know, when he had to make throws to the outside, perfect. Had to make throws to the inside, perfect. You know, he was able to kind of do what he needed to do, moving around, running the football. Just that's kind of where Joe Milton's game is. And, you know, good for him for getting it done tonight.
Yeah, there was that 4th and 1, and it was similar to kind of what you see Washington run with Jaden Daniels, where he's just going to sprint to the left, and you had Princeton Fant lead blocking for him, did an excellent job. And you're absolutely right. Some of the things, when it comes to the out route, he does throw that beautifully. I mean, he was able to spin it. He hit Jalen Cropper for one. There was another one to Ryan Flanoy. I thought, I mean, really, Flanoy and Brooks. And you saw Holden get in the mix there as well late in the fourth quarter. But the Cowboys are going to have a numbers crunch at wide receiver. And we always, when we have tunnel vision and we're kind of just locked in on just this Cowboys football team, maybe it is, hey, they're able to get some of these guys on the practice squad. But Ryan Flanoy, to me, 4 for 45 tonight. I think he's been consistent throughout camp, throughout preseason. There's something about his game that's a little bit different. You can see the wiggle after the catch, the speed, the height. The ability to just have strong hands and attack the football. And on special teams, I think he's been able to showcase his ability as well. Jalen Brooks had a great tracking of the football touchdown catch as well. But Ryan Flanoy is a guy that I'd probably stand on the table and say, I need this guy on my 53.
Well, this is the dilemma that you get into. And with Mingo being out for 4 to 6 weeks, you know, I think that Flanoy kind of takes over that role of the big body guy, maybe the guy in the crack toss, maybe the guy in the bunch formations. You know, maybe that guy that could play some special teams and you carry him to the game, you know, as one of the 46. He's going to be a guy that's going to give you something out there in that regard and just not be a guy that's only playing offensive snaps. If the first 2 games in the preseason, he's done it. He started off really slow in camp. I know the first week I was there, just not noticing him very much. And then all of a sudden they get to the Rams game, and it's like the light came on for him. And if he had just been rewarded with some of the plays that he was able to make during the because he got open, Joe Milton couldn't find him. We'd be talking about Ryan Flanoy as like, hey, this guy had a great camp. great preseason, deserves to make the football team. Maybe now the light has kind of come on for him. He's had to be super competitive. And this is nothing against Brooks either, because I think Brooks in practice, you talk about the guy that was the route runner, the toughness, and I mean toughness with wide receivers that practice every day in camp, run more. Them in the corners run so much. And you have to have mental toughness. You can't get hurt. You can't take days off. And I think both Flanoy and then also Brooks did a hell of a job. And then, with Holden, that's a young guy too that's trying to kind of find his way in. Maybe he doesn't have enough to get it in this time around, but hopefully he'll get through to the practice squad, and then they could work with him from there. But or what you worry about maybe with a little bit with him being a rookie, maybe somebody liked him coming out of college, and
right.
They go to their college reports. We've seen that kind of from the Cowboys before. Go back to, hey, we had a second-round grade on this guy. You hope you don't lose a guy like that.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text you on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to the running backs and how they fared. Jaden Blue, unfortunately, leaving with an ankle injury. Your calls and texts. We'll hear from Brian Schottenheimer, the voice of your Dallas Cowboys, the great Brad Sham, and more. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Throughout time, man has expressed himself through dance.
Connecting changes everything. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Ben DiNucci, the quarterback, and the former Cowboy launches one deep to the middle, tipped in the air, intercepted by Robert Rochelle, and he comes left Rochelle to around the 30-yard line of Dallas. DiNucci's air ball was tipped up in the air, and Rochelle came down with a carom.
One of two Cowboys turnovers. Could have been three, possibly, but those two, as you had Robert Rochelle and then Shamar James, the rookie linebacker out of Florida, with the other one of which was on Easton Stick, the other their former Cowboy, Ben DiNucci, with the interception. 31-13, Cowboys with the win over the Falcons to go ahead and wrap up preseason 2025. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Brian Broaddus. Here's for broadcasting from the Miller Lite Field Club, head coach Brian Schottenheimer about to visit with the media. We will hear from him momentarily here on the official postgame show brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything, and you just cheered for America's team on the field. Now see them on the reels. Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, now at a casino near you. Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. That defense, though, Brian, I think, again, James Houston standing out big time, had a couple of sacks. Perrion Winfrey, I thought, was making some splash plays. Hell, we had some people on Twitter reaching out. Man, he's giving me some David Irving vibes as Perrion Winfrey.
Yeah, David maybe a little more of a slinky player at 6'7", if you can call somebody slinky. I just did. And, his ability to kind of knife through and make plays. The thing with Winfrey that's different from David Irvin, Winfrey's really a powerful guy. I mean, there's got some snap in those hands. And I think David Irvin was really good at, he could control and then get off those blocks and stuff. But David was never going to give you any hitting surface. And I think Winfrey plays with more power. This is where I'm kind of leaning to with Winfrey, and I feel like that maybe, we talk about JT Toya, we talk about him as being, okay, there's your big body guy. Winfrey being a, not a 340-pound or 320 guy, but, a guy that's over the 300 mark, but so quick. And I have a feeling this is the way this defense is going to play. They are going to play more with guys like Winfrey. They're going to play more with guys like Solomon Thomas. They're going to play more of guys that have, Osa, more quickness, more angles, more gaps, more disruptive, that they're not going to sit there and go toe-to-toe with you. Mm-hmm. And I've talked about it a bunch on all the different platforms I'm on, but I really do believe that Matt Eberflus, this is going to be much like what we see with that Tampa type of a defense that plays, you play with quickness, you get upfield, you try and be disruptive, but you try and fill the gaps, and then the linebackers run to the ball. And that's where I really kind of feel like this is going to go. It's not going to be about, they're going to have a bunch of, you need a trash can full of dirt in there. Everybody loves the trash can full of dirt. But if you play this scheme right, and you play the gaps, and if you don't try and be a hero, and if you got A-gap responsibility and you take A-gap responsibility and your teammate takes the B and you fill the C, now you're playing run defense. When this team's going to be bad in run defense, it's probably going to be somebody that gets caught on a block or tries to be a hero or tries to undercut a block. And now they're out of position, and then a linebacker has to fill an A-gap and a B-gap as well.
Yeah, I mean, how many defensive linemen are you keeping? I think probably at least 10.
6 and 4.
You look at the defensive tackles. Osa and Solomon Thomas both haven't really played much of this preseason. Those are probably your two starters. And then, I do think Mozzie is very much on the bubble. Now, he did make one play today.
He had 3 tackles today, yeah.
But, yeah, and the one TFL.
Yeah.
So, Mozzie, did he do enough? I think Winfrey's flashed more than Mozzie has. I think he's been way more consistent when you look at his performance from what we got to see out in Oxnard at camp and then at least in the preseason. But you do have the first-round pedigree. And is that enough to say, like, hey, we still want to give Mozzie every bit of opportunity Does he make the roster? Jay Toia out of UCLA, who has had some really good moments in the preseason. And then certainly Ernest Brown, who was out tonight. I believe Nick Harris mentioned him and Miles Sanders both not dressing, injury reasons. Don't know exactly what the injuries are, but maybe they were a little bit banged up.
Yeah, and when you started to talk about the Cowboys and maybe a surprise to make this team would be Ernest Brown. There were I was talking to some people. Todd Archer and I were visiting about it, and I asked Todd, the question you like to ask other media members is, hey, who's the surprise guy we're not talking about? And Todd goes, it's Ernest Brown. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I can understand. He could be disruptive. He showed a little bit some of the twist game stuff, maybe a little pressure, but a guy that played defense, kind of a tweener, defensive end, playing defensive tackle. I could understand that because he does. He kind of one of those flash guys on tape, but I don't know. Maybe he maybe not. But it's 6-4. We've always talked about this with the offense and defensive line. You got to go the number 10 at both position or really at both positions. It's just so hard to find those guys.
Yeah.
It's so hard to when you get the season going and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're looking for a quality offensive lineman or a quality defensive lineman, and it's just not out there. You're working out guys, and it's just not, it doesn't work out. So you're better off trying to develop that, if you can, in 3 weeks of training camp practice, 3 preseason games, and then hope that depth you have to carry that into the season.
It's and James Houston's another guy. You look at edge like Peyton Turner. They signed in the offseason. First round guy, didn't work out with the Saints, has battled injuries throughout his career.
Yeah.
It's Peyton Turner, Tyrus Wheat. These are the guys that you're looking at. Tommy Akingbasote, their 7th-round pick out of Maryland. Can they get him on the practice squad? I'd lean probably yes. That's what they would try and do there. But it is going to be tough when you have a guy like James Houston that has been so disruptive as an edge rusher. I don't know if you don't have him on your 53, somebody else is probably going to jump in and claim him based on the tape that he's put out there. So and when we went back on the draft show and day 3, we were able to talk with Coach Whitecotton, and he mentioned he likes to rotate. He wants to keep these guys fresh, right? So it is. I mean, it's a good thing to have a numbers issue where you've got guys that you like that we're trying to figure out where's their spot. But, hey, Ernest Brown, local guy, Denton Ryan, got to call the last 2 years of his high school career before he went to Northwestern. Be quite a story, homegrown player. But some of these guys not playing tonight, I thought Winfrey and Houston definitely standing out, helping themselves.
I tell you, Tyrus Wheat has had a really good training camp. You watch him in the practices every day out there, getting better with the work he's able to do. You could tell that he has a feel for how to play the run, how to be a pass rusher. That's going to be another one. If I was a pro personnel director for another team and we're not very good at edge, at the backup edge, I might trade one of my guys out for a guy like if Houston becomes available or Wheat becomes available. Yeah, I would sure consider to, if I'm looking for that 10th guy and my 10th guy is not very good, but Dallas is in a situation right now, though, too. What's going to happen with Micah Parsons? Mm-hmm. Does Micah Parsons, does that turn into something where he starts missing games? You're going to need guys, you might have to go a little long to make up for if Mike, in fact, is not available for games.
Well, it doesn't look like Mike is going to be available to talk with the media. I've already seen some video from Joseph Hoyt and others on the beat that he's leaving. I saw him and Trayvon Diggs leaving the stadium already earlier tonight. So we'll see. I mean, this is going to be, because you've talked about it as well. You got to get Mike in practice if he's going to get geared up and ready to go for this Eagles game.
Feel like that Micah Parsons, and these next few days are going to be a little rough because there's going to be, teams are going to start to make cuts. Tuesday is the official day for roster reduction. And so there's going to be some teams that are going to start doing this. And, with Micah, you really need Micah Parsons. If the intent for him, if he is going to play against Philadelphia, I kind of feel like that they need to have him in the building on Monday ready to go. You have Monday, Tuesday, roster reduction. We'll see how that all plays out. And then Wednesday, you'll really, you're then you're right into game time, getting ready for the game, because then a week later you'll be, playing against the Eagles. So if he's going to play, he is going to have to be ready in the facility on Monday, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I guess I saw our buddy Todd Archer of ESPN put out that, Micah didn't talk to the media,
right,
but Trayvon Diggs did on his behalf, asking, will Parsons play week 1? Diggs said, quote, it depends on how his back feels. I know he was real sore this morning. Diggs said that it was disappointing the saga has now reached this point to where we are. And he was seen, of course, kind of laying on the trainer's table. Did not look very interested in what was going on. I understand the frustration at this point.
I think if Micah Parsons somehow signed a contract tomorrow, I think that back would really improve.
All of a sudden it's starting to feel a little better?
I would think it would feel a lot better if he signed a contract.
31-13, Cowboys get the win over the Falcons. Let's hit the phones. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus here in the Miller Lite Field Club after the preseason finale victory here over the Falcons. Let's go to our buddy in Round Rock, our guy Jim. Jim, what's going on, man? Good to talk with you again.
Good evening, Wolchuk and Broaddus. Listen, I just made some notes.
All right.
What I saw. Fair weather. I like him. He's agile and he's athletic, and I think you got to figure out how to at least get that kid on the practice squad. We could have some injury. Maffa is an old school downhill back. Broaddus, I don't think there's anybody that does it like him. So I don't think there's redundancy. I know you and Vox been talking a lot about that.
We do talk about redundancies.
I like Flournoy. I like the play he made on the punt team tonight. I think he's got a spot. I like Winfrey and Toia. I like them a lot, and I agree with what y'all say about James Houston, and I see Brad Sham there. You are one of my heroes, sir, and it's an honor to be in your ears. But anyway, I listen, I appreciate all you fellas are saying tonight. Broaddus, I literally came outside, and I said, I know what Broaddus is going to say about the quarterback if that goes down. We're going to run the college offense, we're going to run the slants, and we're going to run the read option. Boy, you got in my head. I'm thinking like you, Broaddus. So, listen, I appreciate you guys. Have a good evening. Take care, Mr. Sham. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
That's Big Jim.
We appreciate you, Big Jim.
Big Jim.
Good to talk to you, Jim.
Yep. Jim's the man. Jim calls in every single post-game, win or lose. He signs up for all these. The voice of your Dallas Cowboys, Brad Sham, now joining us here in the Miller Lite Field Club, the official post-game show of your Dallas Cowboys. Preseason's over, Brad.
Yeah.
Your takeaways from tonight?
Preseason's over.
Thank goodness.
I mean, it was more like a football game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me at the beginning of the game when I said I want everybody to think of this as a plate of broccoli. You have to eat your broccoli before you get what you want.
You put a little cheese sauce on it too. Sometimes that broccoli turns out really.
I did not say you couldn't do that.
Crumble some bacon on it. It's really good.
I just said this is a plate of broccoli and you got to get through it.
Brad Sham.
And then we made the point that, which you and I made many times.
Yes.
That for an untold number of these men in this game and around the league who have been playing football since they were 8 years old, some of them are never going to put on a uniform again.
Yeah, this day is hard.
So the treatment of the game deserves some respect.
Yeah, you respect that. You respect that. Quarterback looked like he played free tonight.
Well, he certainly played better.
Brad, he looked like when we put him as a pocket kind of guy. Maybe not a pocket guy.
No, not yet. Anyway, I mean, it's going to be about judgment with him.
Yeah.
And so
he made some good throws.
He's capable of making some good throws. He was pretty smart. Now, I think the 4th and 1 play was a designed play.
Sure.
But there was another scramble earlier that clearly wasn't.
Right.
And I don't think we saw any of those the first 2 weeks.
I'll tell you what I wish he would have done, though. He had that time where he ran the ball the outside, and he was short of the sticks.
Kind of stretch it out.
He was,
we said the same thing. Put your foot foot in the ground and know where you are and drive for that first down.
Go get it.
Yeah, I think there was a play like that last week as well, where he just
short of the sticks, short of the first down.
But I would say, look, he was definitely better.
Yep.
And all the tea leaves point to he's going to be the backup quarterback.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not going anywhere without Will Grier.
Yeah.
What did he show? Will Grier gets his legs chopped out, and then he won't come out of the game. Yeah. And then the first thing they do is, why don't we run you on a quarterback sneak? after that. And he just directs the team. I'm not saying he's great. He just got his. Did you notice his feet?
Yeah.
So quiet.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they'll. He's a vested veteran, so they can work something out with him and release him. They don't have to expose him to waivers.
Sure.
So you can cut to 53, put somebody on IR, and sign him. But I'm carrying 3. This is not. Cooper Rush had a lot of experience.
Sure.
Had started a bunch of games for you. Milton's not that. I do think he's worth having, but if you have to play him, I want a Will Grier, and I think Dak Prescott wants a Will Grier.
Sure.
And I bet you Milton, I know he does, benefits from having Will Grier.
All right, Scout buddy. I can only give you. I can either give you Flanoy, or I can give you Adams. I can only take one right now.
Adams.
I'm sorry, Brooks. What do I?
Jalen Brooks.
Brooks.
Why can you only give me one?
I just want to give me one. I've got other things I got to do. I need one.
Well, I'm going to make you tell me what those other things are.
I got to go long. I'm going to mess up at running back because I'm not going to keep. I'm going to end up keeping all my guys because I'm not sure how to sort that out. So I'm going to have to probably go long there.
What's long?
Long is one extra.
So 5?
5.
5 including Lipke?
4 and Hunter Lipke.
So you're talking about Williams, Maffa, Blue,
Sanders.
You're going to keep Sanders.
I'm telling you. You asked me why, and I'm telling you, my coaches are killing me right now. My coaches don't want to give up all my guys, but you know what? You're my trusted scout. I can only keep one of these wide receivers.
I'm only going to answer this because I love you. Because I would not, if we were in the room, I would say I'm not doing that. We're going to find somewhere else.
My coaches are killing us. Brad, right. We deal with these coaches. They're killing us right now.
I understand
They're killing us. They're killing us out here.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. You will get, including special teams, you'll get more use and quality out of keeping both Flanoy and Brooks than you will of keeping 5 running backs.
But see, that's what's going to happen, Brad. You know this. These coaches, it's gonna be. Will's going to try and kind of say, okay, we've got this. We've got to keep a little. We're down at corners. We've got to keep a corner. No, we might have to keep.
Corner's a different story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to have to go long at probably a position, and so all of a sudden, I'm in trouble because the coaches want to keep all the running backs.
Well, and then they just keep giving Cropper important things to do.
Yeah,
But I will have let me answer your question this way. 2 answers to your question. Number 1, I'm by God telling you we're going to walk out of that room with both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Number 2 is.
I like that.
Number 2 is.
All right.
I'm going to have a real hard time letting Ryan Flanoy out of here.
Thank you. There's something about Flanoy. I think the entire camp, in the preseason, play special teams.
Senator from Illinois answered the question. I can't believe it.
Flanoy's got a little something there, Brad.
I mean, Brooks is improved.
He doesn't have a bad practice.
No, I know.
The guy doesn't have a bad practice, and he runs all day, and he goes on special teams.
And that's why we're keeping both of them, and I'm going to find that somewhere else.
I like what you're doing, but these coaches are going to murder us in that room. Get ready.
No, that's all right.
Get ready. There's going to be blood all over that room.
They can bring bazookas. They can bring machetes. That's all right. We're going to handle them.
All right. I trust you.
What are we thinking about this defensive line group?
The one we saw tonight?
Yes.
The one we saw tonight?
Tonight. Perrion Winfrey. I mean, did anybody stand out to you that you think pushed to say,
they're in trouble at defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You're going to have Odigizua and Solomon Thomas.
Yeah.
And I mean,
my coach is telling us, Brad, that we're going to play slant front. We're going to not play toe to toe. We're going to attack gaps. We're going to fill, and we got to get those kinds of guys.
Linebackers are going to chase and rally.
Yeah, that's what they're going to tell us. They're going to say, hey, we can't line up and just go toe to toe. We don't have that kind of defense.
And
so it's going to
be true. You could convince me to keep Winfrey. Here's the question. Will someone get him to pull the trigger on Mozzie Smith?
I'm going to say yes.
You think he'll be cut?
I say yes.
Roster reduction, not cut. Roster reduction.
Is he a vested veteran?
No. I'm just making it nice. I'm saying a nice word.
Yeah. I think that one's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what he gives you right now.
The coaches are going to fight us, Brad.
Let me see that depth chart because I'm forgetting somebody.
Yeah. They're going to fight us. You know why they're going to fight us? Because they're not married to this guy.
I understand.
They're not married to him.
You talking about Mozzie?
Yeah.
Oh, they're
The
different.
defensive line,
different group took
the
him?
coaches aren't married to him.
But you know what? That is professional football. I mean,
I know, but they're going to
neither
fight
were
us
last
again. They're
year's-
going to fight us.
Neither were last year. Why are you so scared to death of the coaches?
Stare at the coach.
Coaches in this organization have a lot of say.
I understand.
A lot of
I
say.
understand.
I'm just trying to get you ready.
Last year's coaches hated Damone Clark.
I know.
This year's coaches found a way to light his pilot light.
Isn't that amazing? Kid from LSU.
And dare I say, I'm scared to death to say this out loud.
Oh, go ahead. The
It's
world's
just
only
us.
listening.
Andrew Booth.
Andrew
Yeah.
Booth. Yeah.
Andrew Booth that we saw last year. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nice young man.
Yeah.
I just don't think so. They like what he's done, and he has not played badly. That's why he didn't play tonight.
No, because they're going to
so
need him. They're going to
thin,
need him to line
they're
up potentially
afraid
against.
to be without him in Philadelphia, as average as he sometimes is.
Could mean trouble.
So, but the defensive tackles. We're forgetting
King Bisotti.
Toya.
Yeah.
See, I love JT, and I'd start JT.
I think there's some, and we talked about this previously, Ernest Brown. I think there might be some love for him in that room, too. No?
I thought he was awful against the Rams.
The first game, he was bad. Last week,
See, I had
improvement.
somebody tell me, like, surprise guy on the team you're not talking about.
Is
Him.
Ernest Brown?
Yes.
I just got to find a way to get James Houston on the team, too.
Well, that's I wonder if this was between Houston and Wheat for that last defensive end spot.
I'll tell you, and they both have had
and
really
the problem
good
is,
preseasons.
they're both they both rush the passer. They're both built like linebackers, so they can both run, and they both love special teams.
I think Wheat plays the run a little better.
I'd agree.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think I want to let Houston go just yet. You know, if I get the Penn State guy signed, then maybe. Maybe, but I'm looking at these tackles, and Toya. I knew I was forgetting someone, and it's Toya. So if they keep Mozzie, then you've got Smith and Odigizua and Thomas and Toya, and then you're going to have trouble finding a place for Winfrey.
You got to go. You got to go 4-6.
I think you have to.
Or you might have to go 5-5. Which
Okay, so
How
then
about
you
this
so
one?
at
Can
end
I
you're
get you
keeping
this
at
one?
end you're definitely keeping, let's say Parsons and Nealon,
Fowler.
and Fowler and Williams.
Yeah.
So that's 4. And Ezraku.
Yeah.
That's 5.
Yeah.
So this is where I really would love to
Let me-
have Houston on the team.
Let me do this one for you, Brad.
You're just
Would
a
you keep Winfrey, or would you keep Houston?
Houston?
How about you there, Wooly?
Better player at a. You need the help inside more.
Yeah, that's I kept.
Yeah, I
Winfrey.
think
But
we need to help
Houston's
inside.
Houston's a
Winfrey.
better football player.
Yeah, I think he's got a rare ability to get after the quarterback that not everybody has.
I think Winfrey.
Man, you just walked in here and told me our defensive tackle room's not good right now.
And it's not. And what I think is that we've seen Winfrey. We've seen him in camp. We've seen him. Now let's get this. Don't forget, this is not a kid.
yeah.
Don't forget, he played all summer, and he might get to October and his legs give out.
Fair point. It's a fair point.
So
Don't
if I
make
can keep him on the practice squad, I'm happy to do that.
Don't make sense.
31-13 Cowboys wrap up the preseason with a win over the Falcons. Brad.
I got.
Yeah.
How about this?
Yeah,
Since it's just us,
it's just us. It's us sitting here talking.
what if you can get a serviceable corner or defensive tackle for Jalen Tolbert?
Sign me up.
See, Zach has been on since we do radio every afternoon. He did his 53, and he found a way. He's like, listen, love the kid, but this is where I'm at right now. And he said,
I don't
defensive
dislike
tackle or corner.
Yeah, it's nothing against the player, but I think the resume, other teams could be attracted.
If you can get a serviceable player, and now you have Flanoy and Brooks, I mean, how big do you think the gap is between Tolbert and Brooks right now?
I don't think very big.
Scout.
I think Flournoy's in there too.
Yeah, well, we'll do him in a minute.
What do you think, Brian?
I'm power ranking them right now.
Those three.
You guys are going to hate me for this one.
Yep, I am.
Flournoy, Tolbert, Brooks.
Well, okay. Then you just answered part of the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, these are the things that'll come up. You got to see who's hurt. I mean, how's Blue's ankle?
Right.
You know, all of these things.
Gosh, I hate myself right now.
You shouldn't.
All of these things will come up.
Do you guys have it the other way? Do you have Tolbert as the third guy in that list?
Well, I mean, actually, you know, the third guy is Turpin.
Well, I mean, in the
yes,
order of the three names.
That's why I want someone to tell me how big's the gap between Tolbert and Flanoy and between Tolbert and Brooks. Because if it's as narrow as I think it might be, then I might be giving up a better player if I trade Tolbert in August. And I might wind up with a better player in November.
See, if you trade him, I think you're going to get a better player. I think you're going to get a better. I think people look at him better than they look at Brooks.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, because he's done it. I mean, he had
But
7
what
touchdowns
I mean is the Brooks and or Flanoy that you have in November. If Tolbert's not here, that might be better than the Tolbert of now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It might.
Brad, any final thoughts before we move into the regular season, sir?
Yeah. I'm going to stay in bed as long as I can tomorrow, and then I'm going to go see jazz at the Dallas Museum of Art.
Enjoy it.
Night.
Enjoy it, sir.
That's my thought.
Cab Calloway?
If he's there, which would be a big
Is that
story.
Jazz? I guess
That'd
that's
be a big
jazz.
story.
Big band, something like that.
Thank you
Have
very
a great
much.
weekend, boys.
We
You too,
appreciate
sir.
you. There he is, the legendary voice of your Dallas Cowboys, the great Brad Sham with us here in the official postgame show of the Cowboys. 31-13. We'll get back to your calls and texts. We'll hear from the locker room and Brian Schottenheimer. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
tackle and diving into the end zone. Yes, he can run between the tackles. Touchdown, Blue.
How about that? 1-yard touchdown run for Jaden Blue. 31-13. Cowboys get the win in the preseason finale over the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus here in the Miller Lite Field Club. 877-881-1053. The number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. But let's hear from the head coach of your Dallas Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer, after the preseason finale.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Is it safe to say that this is one of your best performances of the preseason?
I was pleased with the way we played. I think played physical, I thought, throughout most of the night. I thought that goal line stand at the end was awesome. So excited for those guys. Some guys jumped out on that drive. Justin Barron was awesome. Elijah Clark did some good things. Again, you guys know, I've said it all along. Nothing changes. This is about evaluation. I thought we started really fast. I thought that was great to see. And but again, the biggest thing for us is I think we had some guys show how much they want to be here, and they fought for it, and the film will tell us a little bit more tomorrow. But very competitive, very physical, certainly things to clean up, like in any game, the penalties and things like that. But overall, I'm pleased with the performance and the fact that these guys got a victory.
Your thoughts on how Milton played this evening?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. I think, got off to a good start. He was having fun. He used his legs. That's something that you guys probably saw in the scrimmage over the last couple of days back in Frisco. He was using his legs a little bit more. That was great to see. Beautiful throw to JB on the go ball. And, he looked a lot more comfortable and settled tonight.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. Can you give us an update on Jaden Blue? Number one, is he health? And talk about his performance tonight.
Yeah, again, I think, we'll take a look at it. I don't think it's anything crazy. I don't think it's going to be anything too bad. Up and down, had some good runs. They were doing a nice job with some of the things that we got. We had a screen that was, I thought had a chance for some more, but you see the talent, you see the acceleration. Wish we could have got him a little bit more, but you're obviously going to be cautious in a situation like this in the last preseason game.
Toughness on the touchdown run, breaking the tackle, that's something he has in his bag.
Absolutely. It was great to see. I thought, we were, 3 for 3 in the red zone. They were, I think, 0 for 3. Kudos to the defense for getting that stop there late. But, yeah, he had a great touchdown run. Phil Maffa had a great touchdown run and with some great surge. I'm not going to say tush push, but with some pushing.
Getting back to Milton, did you see enough where he's your backup?
Yeah, I think we'll get through these next couple of days, but I thought he played really, really well.
Brian Tyler with ESPN. Micah today wasn't wearing his jersey. Everybody else was laying on the table in the middle of the game. Have you had a discussion with him at all of any of that stuff? Does that stuff matter to you?
Yeah, the answer to the question, no. I was calling the game, so no, I don't know any of that stuff. But again, at the end of the day, we'll look at the film and we'll talk to everybody involved, and we'll have a great assessment of how we did both on and off the field.
That he will be on the field week 1 against the Eagles.
I do.
John Machota with The Athletic. Have you seen enough from Mazi Smith to know that he's on this roster?
Well, I think Mazi played better tonight. I think, Mazi's the first one. He talked a couple weeks ago about the consistency and wanting to be more consistent. He's a guy that flashes at times, John, and he does some really good things. I thought he had a couple really good rushes today from the inside 2 technique spot and things like that. But again, we've got a very competitive roster. We've got a very competitive D-line group. So that's why we got to go watch this film and take a look at all of it. I'm not being committal really on anybody. It's not just Mazi. It's, why? I'm not going to do that. Don't have to do that. We've got a couple days to figure this out. And But I thought there were some flashes tonight. Him playing in a third preseason game shows that we wanted to see some things. And he was very comfortable with that, which is great.
Brian Schottenheimer visiting with the media after his first win as Cowboys coach.
He has been very, very steadfast that Micah Parsons is going to be on that field.
Sure has.
And I don't know if it's just he's trying to will it, or he knows something. I think he's been really honest with us since he's been the head coach, but he is not wavered one bit from that. Micah Parsons will be on the field against Philadelphia.
No,
I find that it's just, maybe it's just trying to be positive, But man, and Todd Archer asked the question. Optics did not look good on the sidelines tonight for Micah Parsons, and heck, I don't know. Micah Parsons driving home. It's not like him and Diggs left together, and they've kind of, they're teammates and friends and stuff. But man, that just did not look like a guy that was locked into what was going on in a football game tonight. And listen, I can be honest. I can understand his frustration.
Definitely.
When he looks at the team as a whole and thinks, one of the best 5-8 players in the National Football League, and I'm having to fight for this. But, the Cowboys, and I think he might be getting punished, and I'll probably get a text from somebody driving home, but he's getting punished from some previous sins the Cowboys have made in signing. And Jerry Jones talked about it in these, he's like, hey, there's some guys I probably shouldn't have signed early. And there's some guys, I think there's really a change in philosophy with how they're going to try and do these contracts. I mean a change of let's buckle down, and if we have the opportunity to have some it's very rare that they have leverage.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that trying to kind of change the way they operate with contracts, but boy, he is taking the punishment side of it here, that's probably how he feels. That, like, why me? Why me?
Brian Schottenheimer brought to you by Blockchain. Are you ready to learn a new game and invest like the pros? Don't worry. Even the pros were rookies in crypto once. Blockchain.com makes buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. And the all-new National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington.
Boy, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Brings the stories of America's greatest heroes to life through virtual experience and exciting interactive technology. Plan your visit at mohmuseum.org. We will get back to more of the post-game thoughts, your calls and texts. We'll get locker room audio as well, 877-881-1053. Cowboys finishing 1-2 this preseason after a 31-13 win over the Falcons. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Cowboys Nation is big because everything's bigger in Texas.
Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
I left formation. Play fake again. Milton going deep down the right side for Brooks in the end zone. 2 hands down on the right side of the end zone. And he caught it. Touchdown, Jalen Brooks.
There is our What a Play of the game, brought to you by Whataburger and the Salvation Army, doing the most good. What a pass that was, and then an excellent catch by Jalen Brooks as Joe Milton hit him from 29 yards, was able to track that ball, create enough separation. I mean, Jalen Brooks, contested catches, certainly something that he's done really, really well. Again, we were starting to discuss, hey, the wide receivers, that's going to be a tough countdown there, Brian Broaddus. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout here from the Miller Lite Field Club at AT&T Stadium after a 31-13 Cowboys win over the Atlanta Falcons. We also did get the debut of one Jaden Blue, the Cowboys' 5th-round pick, former Texas Longhorn. He had 9 carries, 25 yards, and a touchdown. Did leave the game, had an ankle injury that for a second I was a little bit concerned because you had Awesome Richards was calling over the trainers, but afterwards Jaden Blue catching up with the media.
First off, how you feeling after the ankle?
I feel great. I feel like I was close to 100% as possible. But it felt good getting a chance to get back out there and do what I do.
They announced that you tweaked it again. Did you injure it again tonight? And it looked like you were walking down the hallway just now. So
yeah, I'll be fine. The trainers look more into it, but just got rolled up a little bit. But I'll be okay.
To get that first action, how did it feel?
It felt great, man. But I think of it as just football. If I'm prepared, I feel like that there won't be any nerves or just doing things that I do in practice and translating it to the game.
What goals have Schottenheimer and the coaching staff given you, and how well do you think you've done to achieve those goals?
Man, really, they haven't gave me any goals, man. Just doing what I do. Just doing whatever I can to, best help this team win or help this team be successful, and just making sure I'm doing the little things to help me be the player that I want to be.
You had a couple of
as a speed guy, being able to kind of run over a guy at the goal line. How cool was that?
No, it was very cool, man. Like I said, I'm just not a runner that can run the ball outside. I can also run between the tackles. I could break tackles, run through contact and things like that. So, that just showed, that I'm not just that scat back or speed back, that I can, also run the ball, the tight spaces.
Jaden Blue catching up with the media after his debut here with the Dallas Cowboys after missing the first couple of games. Says that ankle's good. So, that's
good news.
Big sigh of relief there. Now, Deuce Vaughn leading the team in rushing today, 10 carries, 42 yards. You had Milton obviously doing some work on the ground. Phil Maffa got a touchdown. Blue got a touchdown. Yeah, this is interesting. You did not have Miles Sanders in uniform. I think it was a shoulder injury.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that, and I'm hopeful I get that before we get off the air here in the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, just to get some confirmation on that. And then Javonte Williams hasn't played at all in the preseason. He's going to be your running back one, but what decisions do they make at running back? I know we were talking with Brad earlier. Is that a spot that they go long on?
See, this is where, and I was having fun with Brad, but these are the real discussions that you have, and I mean this is no disrespect to coaches, because I have a lot of friends that are coaches and worked with coaches, a lot of great coaches. But man, this time of year, it's very, very, very difficult because the front office has an idea of kind of how they want this team. And this particular team that we cover, they solicit coaches' opinions. Mike McCarthy, when he was here, had far more opinion about players than he ever had in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. So sometimes coaches will, hey, we can't play without this guy. We can't, this guy, we can't play without him. Or, man, we could do, And so all of a sudden, you think you're on the same page with your coaches, and Will McClay walks a very, very, I would say a tightrope of having to make scouts happy and having to make coaches happy and having to make the Joneses happy. So he really serves three groups, and you just don't want one group. Like if you side with the coaches, the scouts get mad. And if you side with the scouts, the coaches get mad. So it's I think the wide receiver group, the running back group, I don't have a clue on the running backs. I'm not any clearer than when we went to Oxnard, California on July 21st.
No, other than Javonte Williams seemingly being RB1, I don't know what.
And I don't know if that necessarily was, and I'm kind of thinking, how? Mm-hmm. I mean, and I watched the 12 practices that we were there, the days we were there, and I'm kind of like, okay, how? I understand him, and hell, I even talked to Sean Payton about him. I'm like, Sean, he goes, hey, Brian, he's in the second year of his knee, probably will be better. And I'm like, okay, but then I've seen Sanders do some good things. I've seen Blue do some good things. All of a sudden Maffa comes and starts playing. I don't have a great feeling for how this running back room is going to shake out. And this is where you, as a personnel guy, when you have that feeling, and now people like coaches get involved, and then they say, okay, well, let's just keep all of them. And now that means you're going to lose a guy at another position. You're going to maybe Brooks doesn't make the team because you're carrying an extra back.
Or maybe Winfrey.
Or maybe Winfrey doesn't make the team because you're carrying an extra back. Those are the things you worry about.
Yeah, it's man. The running back room is going to be very interesting. What ends up happening on Monday? Let's get back to the phones. 877-881-1053 on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently, and I appreciate you. Let's go out to Waco. We got Chris joining us. Chris, how are you?
Yes, sir, gentlemen. I'm doing great. It was a little more enjoyable to watch the Cowboys tonight, and I know it doesn't matter as far as the standings, but just getting a win under their belts, that's nice. Zach, I'm 100%. I'm sorry, I'm a Tolo, Wooly Bully. I'm 100% with you on Flournoy. I think that guy, he's got something, man, and he's got the special teams aspect with him as well. I saw a lot from that. I will say this, and Mr. Sham, I'm 54 years old, but I still call him Mr. Sham out of respect. He really keyed on something with the running backs and stuff. My question to you, Wooly Bully and Brian, does Miles Sanders, I mean, as a Cowboy fan, I watch, I'm listening, I'm checking this. Does he do is he going to make this roster at all? I mean, I'm hearing you talking about a shoulder now, but then Jaden Blue gets an ankle tonight, and I'm like, okay, is this going to be an injury problem going on and on? And the last thing I'll say, and I know I'm saying a lot, I think this linebacker core may surprise some people this year. Just something about some of these young guys and some of the fire I'm seeing. I'm thinking of what was perceived as a weakness here at the beginning of the year might end up being a strength. At least my Cowboy heart hopes so.
Yeah,
Go Cowboys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I really, really appreciate the call and the kind of words. I agree on the linebacking room. I think Shamar James has been really good. And I had some doubts, what we saw in tape at Florida. Yeah, absolutely.
And the guy was, the guy has, if you go back to OTAs, he had an interception in an OTA, and he really wasn't known as a very good pass cover guy because you couldn't, it was kind of just basic drops and stuff. He kind of has a feel for that. He was like a blitzer at Florida, like a run,
downhill
chase,
player.
attack. Maybe instincts are a little off, but man, he looks like he's a pretty good pass defender from what we've seen so far. The word on Sanders is nothing's wrong.
Okay.
So this is kind of a decision,
all right,
that somebody made.
So, I mean, to me, if I would then say that Sanders is probably on the roster, if that's the case. If he just didn't dress and there was no injury going on with him.
I don't, like I say, maybe it's a deal where now they could do this. He is a veteran player, and so you do worry if he gets in this game and does get hurt, then you have to pay him as a veteran player.
Good point.
So that maybe they're still planning on moving on from him. They just played him not to get him injured, so they can release him.
Because I thought there was some some questions with the vision last week against Baltimore.
Man, his practices were so good. Like when he was running.
Yeah. And you told us because that was the week before we arrived and joined you in Oxnard. We didn't get to see him the next week.
He was hitting. And I was thinking, okay, power gap scheme. He hits it and makes the cut. And last week, it's like he was running with a mask on. Like he is like, what is he? No, press it and then cut it. And, it's, hey, sometimes you have bad days at the ball yard. And that was a bad day for him.
Yeah.
Last week.
No, and so, Williams, Maffa, Blue, Lipke, that's kind of the way that I would do that. But, again, maybe they feel like, hey, Phil Maffa, big back, can they get him on the practice squad? If they've got if somebody else poaches him, maybe they feel like they can find another back with a similar skill set somewhere else. Maybe they want to keep they're like you, and they say, hey, we saw some juice from Miles Sanders. That's something we would covet more on the roster. All those conversations they'll be having over the weekend.
That's why this is a position I don't have a really good feel for.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
It is.
It really is. All right, we'll get Joe Milton, your starting quarterback today, who played much, much better. We'll get more of your calls and texts. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future.
basics of doing things right and moving companies forward, Pollock Aurora is where solved happens. Call 855-239-5153 or visit pollock.com today.
Stick back to throw it over the middle. Quickly intercepted at the 45-yard line, and it's Shamar James, the rookie linebacker from Florida, returning at 10 yards with the first takeaway of the game.
Shamar James gets the interception, the Cowboys rookie out of Florida. That was your defensive stop of the game, brought to you by WinStar as the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. WinStar delivers thrills worthy of America's team with over 10,000 of your favorite electronic games. A 2-story WinStar Spawn cascades their luxury pool complex. WinStar is a world of wow. Please game responsibly as the Cowboys finish up the preseason on a high note. 31-13, they get the win. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus here in the Miller Lite Field Club at AT&T Stadium. And I do agree with our previous caller as that linebacker room is certainly looking much better. And we did get Micah Parsons on social media, as Mike Leslie of WFAA said, in the interest of clarity and fairness, Micah Parsons was not laying on the training table all night. In fact, that was only a relatively short portion of the evening. Micah quoting that and saying, I actually appreciate this. The way the media shapes perception and narratives is wild. And if he hadn't said anything, everyone would have just run with it. I'd never disrespect the guys out there fighting for their lives. And that is from Micah Parsons on Twitter.
Good for him. Bet there's pictures of him laying on the table.
No, there are. I'm sure he's got to just be frustrated. I mean,
he
even
is frustrated. I don't blame him.
Him just sitting on the side at practice, like, he wants to be out there.
Don't blame him one bit. He's dug in. The Cowboys are dug in. He's probably really frustrated that he is one of the best 5 players in the National Football League, and he is having to fight for every penny he gets. But the Cowboys negotiations have been, it seems like every time they turn around, it is the highest at the position, one of the highest at the positions, so it's unfortunate. They are drawing the line on this one, and they're going to use every bit of leverage they have, because normally they don't have a whole lot of leverage. So, we'll see. We'll hopefully Monday, he comes back to the facility and says, okay, let's get ready for the Philadelphia Eagles. And maybe with him practicing and all that, they can get something done. Maybe if he shows up and he's been showing up, but if he puts on the number 11, goes out there and practices with his teammates, maybe Jerry and Steven and David Mulugeta then could come together and get this thing done.
Let's get some more tape from the locker room. Here was Joe Milton after a 10 of 18, 132-yard touchdown performance.
You seemed a little less hyped up today than you had the previous 2 weeks. Just finally getting into a rhythm?
Yeah, just starting to get more comfortable with the offense. Just playing exactly how Shawty wanted me to run those plays and doing what the team needs.
You've been giving yourself a letter grade all through the preseason. I got to imagine tonight's letter grade's a good bit better than the first 2.
Yeah, man, I just was happy that we came out there. We got a dub as a team. That was pretty much my main goal, my main focus. It wasn't about the letter grade tonight, but it was just all about just going out there and being all on one accord.
You're not going to give yourself a B- or a B+?
Nah, I ain't going to give myself
right, Joe? A lot better than a D.
It's good. Just happy we won, man. Yeah.
Any feeling of relief, or just what's the immediate feeling after this?
I wouldn't say relief, because if you say relief, then that's just basically being complacent. I'm not a complacent person, so just trying to build from this one. There are some things that I can clean up during this game, so just try to keep working at those things, and just the things I did well, just keep trying to get those throws after practice and during practice. So just keep chipping away.
Can you speak to a couple of the young receivers who are really, like Jalen Brooks, I think of North,
yeah,
really good game with the sophomore?
Absolutely. Those guys have been showing up since off season. Jalen, Crop, Trayshawn, Kelly, Josh Kelly, they've been showing up since the offseason. Anytime I text those guys to show up, even watch film at my house, or whether it be just to go to the field and they spot catch, like they was always there. And I feel like that as a quarterback, that touches your heart because you know that you have guys that you can depend on and that knows and actually that wants to work. So.
There is Joe Milton with the media afterwards, and I think that, I think all three are going to make this roster, but Joe, certainly, you're absolutely right. I mean, they used the play calling tonight was way more beneficiary to his play. What does he like to do?
That dude went out and played football today. He wasn't like pocket passer Joe Milton. Like in training camp. In training camp, I was like, before you guys got there, Joe would drop back and he didn't take off running, and you're like going, damn, Joe, just throw the ball. And then maybe it's damn, Joe, just throw the ball. It should be, damn, Joe, just go out there and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked like he was having fun playing football tonight. He looked like a guy that if he had to run, he could run. He didn't, he wasn't having to stand there and read and wait for slants to come open. And he just went out there and reacted. And he threw the ball well. He was accurate. He had some touch. This guy, that deep ball is no joke. He has got that ability to lay it out there, and Brooks went and got one for him. We've seen guys go get the football for him. But man, his accuracy, footwork, he's chaotic watching in the pocket though. He'll throw off his back foot, feet won't be set, arm angle kind of funny. And when he could play free and loose and all that, he's got a chance.
He does.
He's got a chance.
Got a shot.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to the phone. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Brian Broaddus. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently. Let's go to line 5. We got Marcus calling in from College Station. Marcus, you're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Real quick, about Joe Milton. I recall after the first game, Brian Schottenheimer mentioning how they were working on things. There were a lot of questions about him coming out passing 6 straight times. And if you watch tonight's game with Joe Milton, I now kind of believe what he was saying. I think maybe he went into this game thinking, hey, let's not break the kid's confidence. Let's go let him play free. We were working on some things, and let's let him get out there and build a little confidence, because this is the last time he's going to hit the field for the season, hopefully, God willing. And then another thing I wanted to ask Brian was about Mazi Smith. When you watch tape of Mazi, does he look like a guy that wants to get better at football? Because he just seems a little sluggish at times when I watch him. I don't see the concentration after each snap, like in between plays. I just don't. When I'm watching, I don't see that, and it's concerning, especially with the comments he made his rookie season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wanted to ask you. You're the professional at this, so I just wanted to know, what do you see when you watch him play? Does he look like a guy that wants to get better?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about Mazi?
I mean, the thing with Mazi Smith is that he's played for 3 different defensive line coaches. It seemed like last year that Jeff Zugina and Greg Ellis got something out of him to where he was playing at a level where it wasn't a bust. The division games, it seemed like the Giants, the Commanders, the Eagles, he was kind of, the thing with Mazi is he's never going to be consistent. He's never going to be tackle for loss and then come back and give you another, like, stack blocks and then, get guys free. Last week, though, when they were playing really some decent run defense, Mazi Smith was holding up some blocks. Him, Jay Toya, those guys were holding up some blocks. He was never going to be a stat guy. He was never going to be a sack guy, But he's really struggled with his confidence. I think he's a very sensitive player. There are times in the locker room he would break down, knowing that that the scrutiny, and I think it became really too much for him. At training camp, he tried to talk about working hard. See, he was in the same boat as, say, like Guyton, where both of them last year were like, it was, well, I need to get better. I need to be mature. And Guyton did that, and Mazi's kind of like talking about it. But, man, you kind of see it. A capable player, he just does not. It goes from one play to like gone for like 4 or 5 plays, and he's just not the most explosive. And he was billed as a guy who is a power player, and you just kind of flashes those things. It's nothing really consistent about him as a player. And if Mazi Smith was a 4th-round player or a 5th-round player, we'd all be like, man, all right, good job, Mazi Smith. But he's not. He was picked in the 1st round.
I don't even think
so. He's thought about it that way.
I think we'd be even more willing to say sayonara
if he was a
4th
fifth-round
player.
Yeah,
I don't think that there'd be any discussion about why he's on the roster.
See, Mazi Smith, though, was billed as this guy that was going to just wreck shop. He was going to 2-gap player at Michigan, probably a bad scheme fit for what they were trying to do here. And he kept hearing that need to be quicker, last off the ball, need to be quicker. What did he do? He lost weight. He lost weight thinking he needed to do that to be quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been unfortunate for him. It really has been unfortunate. And Will McClay and Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones and Dan Quinn at the time and Mike McCarthy, they'll wear that one. They wear that one. It'd be interesting to see if Dan Quinn brought him to
yeah,
if he got released
if for
or
some reason
him,
he does not make the roster, and he's a free agent, I would be. I mean, we saw it even with Taco
I think
Charlton,
Will
somebody's
McClay
going to pick him up.
I think Will McClay drafted him or fought for him because of Dan Quinn. I remember Will made that passionate speech. It was Ben Bergeron and
the Syracuse lineman,
Syracuse lineman
with Atlanta now.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it was like Mazi Smith. And I think that Will made that speech. And again, I'll probably get a text from somebody telling me different. But that is, I believe that Will made that speech knowing to try and help Dan Quinn and help this defense.
Let's go to line 3. We got Jerry calling in from New Mexico. What's going on, Jerry? How you doing?
Hey, guys, big picture thing, and then I got a question. I've been encouraged. We've seen a little bit of improvement each week in the preseason, and that's a good sign, and that's what you want. They're a little bit better overall from week 1 to week 2 and then from week 2 to tonight, so let's keep that going. My question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where do you put the possibility of a big trade? And by a big trade, I'm talking about a Jalen Tolbert or someone like that being shipped off for another player.
2. I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't either. I think Tolbert's on the roster.
Did he go away?
Yeah, I think so. I think Peyton said bye-bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised.
I would too. And now that's what I would be trying to do, because I like what they've got in the depth at wide receiver.
If you're going to move on because his contract, him, Sam Williams, those guys, their contracts are up, and you have no real intent of bringing them back after this year, then try and get something for them. But my gut feeling, unless somebody calls, and I haven't heard anybody call about for Tolbert or Williams or anybody like that, so I'm gonna put it as 10 being the highest. I'm gonna say a 2.
All right, let's try and sneak one more in here. Let's go to Austin, who's calling in from Prosper. What's up, Austin?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you. I had a question. So you guys are amazing on your perception on the sports. I only listen to you guys on the postgame. Broadus, thank you so much. Zach, thank you so much. My question is, if we do suffer any kind of injury on that offensive line or in the backfield, what will we do? We're all confident that Dak is going to play the full season. He won't. He'll get hurt. He's going to go out. Is Milton or Greer, what will we do after that? And on the defensive line with those corners and those nickels, even Brad Sham, nobody can say who the star is. We just shuffle through and siphon through all these names, but nobody is standing out. For the Dallas Cowboys, as fans, we're not the professionals, like the last caller said. You guys are the professionals. That's why we listen to you.
Austin.
But what do we do?
Austin. You there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Do me
sir.
a favor. Give me the one question you want answered. Just the one. You had asked me about 5 questions there. Give me one question you want answered.
Yes, sir. If we get damaged in the quarterback, what will we do to finish the season?
Yeah, I think it. Thank you very much for the call. I think it's going to be Joe Milton, and I've said this before on the various platforms, and we were talking. I think they play a college offense. I think you'll see tonight, or what you saw tonight. I think that's how they'll play. I think it'll try and be some of the read option stuff. I think it'll be Joe Milton running the ball. I think it'll be kind of some intermediate passing game, maybe with some stuff down the field. Maybe we'll see with the accuracy and all that. Maybe Pickens and Lamb suffer a little bit that way.
He could throw that out route.
But he
It's
could
pretty
throw.
impressive.
Yeah, he could. But I think that they will turn this thing into kind of like the offense you see with the Commanders, Arizona, Baltimore. I think that's the kind of offense you would see.
Thank you very much for the call, Austin. All right, let's put a bow on the preseason. Look ahead to Philly as the postgame show rolls on. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more...
It's not one island, it's a lifetime of them. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
1 yard line. Second down, snap to Milton, handoff Blue, coming left, through an arm tackle and diving into the end zone. Yes, he can run between the tackles. Touchdown, Blue.
There you go. That's our drive of the game. And tonight's game between the Falcons and Cowboys at AT&T Stadium was brought to you by Tostitos, the official chip of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's also hear our player of the game.
They go quickly now. Here's an option and a peel out to the right by Milton. And Joe Milton strolls in and walks the dog for the touchdown.
There we go. I knew it. I knew Brad would give us the walk the dog from Joe Milton as he had that 1-yard touchdown run and that drive ending with the Jaden Blue touchdown to put the Cowboys up 14-0. That was 8 plays, 75 yards for 4 minutes. And we've talked how much better Joe Milton looked tonight. Jaden Blue, also great to see him. You saw a little bit of what made him so exciting coming out of Texas with the burst, but also a guy that underrated for being a smaller back, being able to really run in between the tackles and play behind his pads and get physical.
Yeah, you talk to people. You have sources at Texas, and much like I do as well, the thing that they were telling us was maybe not a 25 carry a game guy, maybe more of a 15 kind of a carry guy, but he's trying his best to dispel that rumor. It's just unfortunate that he got rolled up on today with the ankle stuff, and hopefully he's one of these guys that has the weak ankles and stuff, then every time that he plays, you're having to deal with that. But you could definitely see when he gets that ball, he's got a little extra gear to him.
He does. And maybe that's why they were thinking, hey, 15 carries, because he did have the injury issues.
Well, you throw him the ball, too. He's really good at that.
Just a weapon. But even with 15 touches, I mean, he can score from anywhere on the field. So he can do damage anytime he's got the ball in his hand. So it was good to see Jaden Blue tonight. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winner, Brian Broaddus, as we're hanging out here in the Miller Lite Field Club. Last segment as we take into the top of the hour and say bye-bye to the preseason, and we get this thing going for real against the Eagles. Thursday night football to kick off the season. They'll be dropping the banner in Filthy, and the Cowboys will be looking to ruin that party. Let's get to our last couple of calls here. We got Zach calling in from California. Great name there, Zach. How the heck you doing tonight?
I appreciate you taking my call, guys. Hey, so my question is, so last year, Jerry's all in. We get Dak signed before week 1. We got McCarthy coming off 12-5 seasons. This year, we have a new head coach. We got really, we don't have any sacks in the preseason, which is scary. We got 2 today, but I mean, it feels like we haven't had much pressure at all. And we haven't heard a lot about expectations, right? So and we're not in a rush to get Micah signed, right? So it's like a different year. What is our expectations? What do you think their expectations are? Are they expecting to compete with the talent that we have right now? And I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I think they're expecting to. I think they're probably a 9 or 10 win team, though, myself. At least until they get back. They've got to weather the storm. I mean, the first part of the schedule on paper, and we say that on paper because last year, after New Orleans came in here in week 2, and I was thinking, okay, they're going to win that game against New Orleans, and they just got smacked. And New Orleans was bad the rest of the year after that. New Orleans starts off like 2-0, and then they just were awful from that point on. But on paper, this team, they probably should be halfway through. It should probably be 5-3 if you really kind of look at. If you're talking about the Jets and the Jets, Carolina, the Giants, who knows? I mean, but on paper it looks like that they probably could be 5-3. But then the second half of the schedule, the calendar turns, and then it turns into, just on paper, it looks like a very daunting schedule that they're going to have to deal with. Me personally, my expectations, I kind of feel like this is a 9 or 10 win team. And if they do that in Brian Schottenheimer's first year, that buys him a lot of credibility. I think he has got to have the type of season where it's not 3-14. If it's 3-14, he is going to be reminded of all that fun. That's what you get for playing music. That's what you get for having a ping pong table. That's what you get for being a personable coach. They need to be tougher. He talked about it. He talked about, he's going to hear all that. And if you don't have a winning season, and I mean like 9-10 games, you don't build credibility. There's a lot that they have to still do with this football team. They've got some veteran players that are, are capable of doing some really good things, but there's still work to do with this roster. And if they can win 9 or 10 games, 10 games could get them in the tournament, and you never know what happens when you get in the tournament.
All right, let's shut it down as we head out to Duncanville, and we got Roger who's been waiting. Roger, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. I just want to let you know that I listen to G-Bag every day, and I love both you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
One thing I'm personally kind of bothered with is that the fact that Dak Prescott never played a single snap in either any of these 3 games. And, on September 4th, he's going to be going up against Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. So, are we going to start the learning curve there, or just,
yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
He
didn't play.
Hasn't played since game in Atlanta, and he basically missed the second half of the season. He's practiced every day in training camp. He's got a lot of work in that, but it's not game action. I was asking Wolchuk today. I go, did I see Pat Mahomes playing in the 3rd preseason game tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of I think that Dak and Jared Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, and then maybe and then Lamar Jackson. I think those are the ones that haven't played. Well, the Rams, of course, their quarterback.
Stafford he's dealing with that back. Yeah.
But I think every other quarterback has played in the preseason, and so this is something that, once again, if you start slow and you end up 3-14, this is the questions they're going to ask. Like, why wasn't he playing? Why do you not do this? Why do you sit this guy out? Why, he's going to have to deal with a lot of questions if this thing goes the wrong way. If you have success and Dak comes back and he looks fine, that buys him, again, credibility, and people will stay off his back that way.
And I don't think Dak has played in the preseason since 2019.
No.
So we have seen, we've seen some starts to the season where it didn't look great, but then there's been other games where the road game against Tampa Bay, I want to say that was 2021, looked fantastic. They did suffer an L, but offensively they were really good and humming on all cylinders. So, yeah, I mean, it's not new that Dak hasn't played in the preseason, but I'm with you, man. And I've said it before, anytime Andy Reid, who I think is the best coach in the league, playing his guys, a guy who just wins 10 games a season no matter really who his quarterback is, was doing it with Alex Smith prior to Mahomes, I'd probably go with his playbook there. But, look, everyone does it differently around the league, so we'll see. But I'm excited we get to now talk regular season football.
We do.
This is what it's all about. Preseason is done. Cowboys going 1-2 in the preseason. And now, September 4th. We will have the pregame starting at 4 o'clock on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. Cowboys at Eagles kicking off at 7:20 Central Time. And we'll have postgame going until 1 a.m. So I can't wait for that. Big thank you, of course, to Peyton Russell, to Kevin Walker, Ross Lipinski, of course, Tim Collins, Gavin Spittle, Ruben Portillo, who always does an excellent job. Brian Broaddus, I'm Zach Wolchuk. Until the opener, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Whether you're in the courtroom or on the field, winning matters. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Barberi Law Firm